So in the beginning of the time, when the human beings, the devas, then asuras, and all the the demons, the gods, and then the human beings were created in this universe. So there was an important question, like hey, somebody has to teach them, somebody has to educate them, somebody has to enlighten them. Then only they can understand the problems of life. They can only fix the problems. They can find more meanings in their life. Because with education, with the lightening of the mind, we find more sustainable solutions to the problems that we happen or we encounter. So everybody came to a consensus that Prajapita Brahma, who is the creator of the universe, he should give us lessons. He should teach us. So he designed a course where everybody is participating. It's a rigorous course of disciplining the human mind. They talk all tapasya, like how to generate the heat in your mind so that you go to the higher level. So everybody did their own practice of meditation, yoga, pranayama, all these things that is needed to be learned to survive in this life. So after the end of this course, of course everybody were enlightened in their own way. So everybody had a need to have the final word from Prajapita Brahma. They requested him, so you have already taught us everything, but we would like to see or to listen to your final word of wisdom, how we can move forward in our life. So interestingly, it's a very profound teaching from Brahma. He just said the word da, just a simple word called da, and then asked every group to interpret that based on their learning. See, this is what the teaching is about, how the mind plays a major role in interpreting the life. So that's what the yogic concept we are investigating today, how the mind plays a role. So first the devas were asked, what is your interpretation of da? Then the devas said, after some thinking, that da means maybe damyatam. Damyata means self-control. Like we must control our mind, we must control our life, we must control our mind, we must control our intent. Everything is about controlling. So we must practice damyata. And the Brahma said, yes, that is right. And then the human beings were asked, he said, what is your interpretation? So the categorical human being who were present in that, the sample of human being, the representative of humanity, they said da means dhanam, right? Whatever we do, we must give back to the world. The Mother Nature gives us everything, we must give it back so that the life continues. So dhanam, or spending time, spending money, resources, everything to uplift the humanity, to help others also to grow in that path of the life is called dhanam. Then Brahma said, yes, that is also true. See, Brahma is saying based on your interpretations, whatever you are saying is true. And then the Asuras or the Danavas were asked, what is the interpretation of da from their point of view? So they said da means daya, like kindness, compassion. If you don't have daya in your heart, then you won't be a good human being or a good person. So you must practice daya. That is also one of the yamas and niyamas of yoga practice. So everybody interpreted from their way, dhanam. So the meaning of this story is everything happens in our mind. Our mind interprets everything. The life is largely an interpretation of our mind. So now coming back to the question, the spiritual masters, the enlightened masters, the Guru Mandala, all the source of spirituality, even the nature, the universe itself, how come it's not doing anything? Well, if you look at the situation right now, everybody is interpreting in their own respective way. Everybody is trying to find out what is the best solution for this. Because at any given point of time, if you look at in our own personal life, there will be always a time would come, at least 10 to 15 times, we'll have these spiritual problems, deeper problems, bigger adversities in our life. Like for example, when our dear loved ones passing away from this life, when we have a divorce or when you have a loss of job, all the different things, or a serious sickness that comes into our life. So that happens on an individual level, and also in a collective level. A war can break out, a bigger epidemic or pandemic like this can happen, a flood can happen, hurricane can happen, a meteorite can attack the planet Earth. There are so many adversities that at a collective level also can happen. So at those time of adversities, I think it's a great opportunity for us, because every problem is also an opportunity in disguise. Right? Every problem is an opportunity in disguise. Life is only 10% what happens, but 90% how we respond to it. So even at this context of coronavirus situation also, there are so many interpretations that are positive in nature. People are saying that if you can't go outside, go inside. And probably the spiritual masters have already raised a platform where people are listening to the inner self and then trying to take some time, I believe, to go deeper inside. So in a way, maybe the masters of this time or even the previous time, Lord Krishna, Lord Rama, Buddha, all these spiritual masters from the past and the present, they've already laid a foundation for us. They've already given us their lessons. Now I believe it's a testing time for us. Because I personally believe that we all are enlightened. Just like Swami Vivekananda said, we all are divine soul. There is a divine potential in everybody. But we have to do our own bits to manifest the divinity in our life. So I think it's a collective time. It's a time for doing something on our own, to spend some time to enhance the spiritual base, what they call building a stronger foundation in our life. And what is the stronger foundation? The stronger foundation is our basis of our existence. As yoga talks about, you are Atman, you are the pure consciousness manifesting your life through this body, mind, intellect complex. So everything that happens in the life is only a reflection of the consciousness. So when you take some time to dive deep into your inner consciousness, the real consciousness called the Brahman, and take a holy dip into that for 5 minutes, 10 minutes every day, then automatically your mind becomes more powerful. Your consciousness expands to see that you are, or the human species, not the only species in this planet. Everything matters. You know, the life of a dolphin, the life of a seal, the life of the birds, the life of ants, the life of sea creatures, everything matters to the nature. So we, because of our limited ignorance or limited knowledge, I think we have conquered the world in a very powerful way. So I think it's the time of the nature that is giving us opportunity to reflect back into what life is and how we can be practicing self-control, how we can practice daya, compassion, and how we can devote our time, whatever is there right now, to teach each other, to practice with each other. And this is the time that I would say not to worry about things, not to get afraid about things. And if you look at a lot of positive things are also coming up right now. People are getting cured. This is not a big threat compared to many other challenges that we have already faced as human beings. So I believe everything will happen in the right time, in the right perspective. So all this time, if you follow the rules and regulations that every country is guiding us, let's have a collective mind together, and in our own personal time, we must delve deeper into our inner consciousness. Where else you'll get time? Think about where else you'll get time to be together. Husband and wife working together from the house, the children are being together. We all are giving reflect. If you look at the social media, I believe the amount of spiritual discourses that's happening and all these different videos and all these talks, transpirations that are happening is way more than any given point of time. So I believe this is the test time. We all have to write our test papers and try to at least get an A grade right now. So the masters have already done their job. Now we have to really come up with our own interpretations of this, our own practice to alleviate the spiritual power. Because sometimes the problems become so collective that few individuals cannot lift up. We all have to push. Like if you ask this question of Lord Krishna being the God, so-called, in our interpretation, how come he could not stop Mahabharata? There is a need for the nature. There is always a need that he does everything, but he has to do it through us. So likewise, the masters also do everything behind in a stealth mode. But we have to really believe in the teachings that the masters are giving, but also we have to do our own practice. So when we practice on our own and we try to overcome this problem by going deep within, you see, we'll also have the pleasure of being a participant in the whole venture. It's not like the masters have done in a passive way, but we are also doing it in an active way. So when we do something actively, and the masters are also doing a push-up from within in a stealth mode, I think everybody will become more experienced in dealing with this kind of situations, and whenever it happens in the future, we can be self-reliant, we can be self-dependent. Today I would like to also conclude this talk by a powerful statement that I have been deeply moved by one of my spiritual masters, Babaji Maharaj. He used to say, The God has hidden himself to expose you. Now you hide yourself and expose the God. So that's a profound statement that I've been practicing. The God is the Brahman that is within you. It's hidden to expose you, whatever way that you have achieved so much of success in this life. Now you go within and expose the God. So when we expose the God within each one of us, guess what? Everybody will become a spiritual master. We will not depend on one or two spiritual masters, but everybody, 8 billion of people in the planet will become spiritual masters. And I guess the nature is trying to give us an opportunity to elevate our consciousness into the global consciousness and then try to be more spiritual. Then only the Renaissance would happen and the Satya Yuga would come. We will transcend the sufferings of the Kali Yuga and then try to embark upon the Satya Yuga time with the advent of technology. So this is the great transformation time. I always talk about technology and spirituality merging together. So it's our duty to embrace the spiritual practices, whatever that we have learned so far. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. So keep our mind open. Every moment there is a teacher which is happening. So the nature itself is the teacher right now, is trying to teach some profound truth of life. So let's wake up to these moments and try to practice our own thing. Try to write those test papers and then try to succeed. And I wish everybody will get an A grade from this lesson today. The spiritual masters have done their job. Now is the time to give them how much you have learned. So let's keep practicing.